What's happening, friends? Welcome to Unlocked. It's episode 400 of IGN's weekly Xbox podcast. 400, that's a lot of...
It's a nice round number.
That's a lot of weeks. I'm Ryan McCaffrey. Coming up on this week's show, some big rumors swirling about Project Scarlett and that it may no longer be two Scarlett consoles, but rather just one. We'll talk all about that. Plus, more big news for Remedy and Alan Wake. You're going to want to stay tuned for this. Plus, EA's executives making a gesture of sorts in the wake of a disappointing year. Glenn Schofield, he of Dead Space and Call of Duty fame, is set up shop at a new studio in a place you probably wouldn't expect. All that and more coming up on Unlocked, episode 400.
Podcast Unlocked.
I still got it. That was a good intro, right? That's 400 of these. I mean, they're not all mine. Most of them are. I think 57 or 58 was my first episode.
When you took over?
Yeah, when I joined. I remember I did an Unlocked episode the first day. My first day here, I came right in and said, all right, we're doing this.
That's sort of the IGN way.
Yeah, like right into the fire.
You start during E3, or you start. Like, when I started, they were like, hey, here's your podcast show. It's all about Smite. And I was like, I don't know what a podcast is.
Well, I'm Ryan McCaffrey, as I mentioned, alongside me, Brandon Tyrell.
Hello.
And Destin Legary.
Bam!
There it is.
Waiting for it.
Hello.
Got it. Good to hear from you both. Miranda Sanchez is on assignment covering the Anime Expo, which I told her before she left yesterday, I'm mad at the Anime Expo for her. Every year, apparently, it's not only over 4th of July weekend, it starts on the 4th of July. Oof. And it's a convention in the United States. Yeah. It's actually at the LA Convention Center where E3 was.
Yeah.
So she gets this freakish deja vu.
It's like exactly a month after E3.
Yeah. And she was thinking, she had a sound theory, which was that, people are already taking time off, so they're more likely to attend, and the attendance of the conference is higher. And then I told her, well, my cynical view, not to only to add on to hers, not to replace or take away from it, is I'll bet the convention center rate is a lot cheaper on 4th of July because no one else wants it.
Maybe.
Really? I don't know.
So. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have that totally backwards.
Everybody has vacation on July 4th. Like for most people, it's a convention to go and spend time with your friends, right? But for us, it's work.
Like for her.
We got to go and cover it, but she loves anime. So
she does.
It's sort of a weird mix where most people are probably just going to have a good time. But I'm surprised you would think that it would be cheaper on July 4th. I think it'd be more expensive, wouldn't it? More tourists, I
wonder how many other conventions are vying for that lucrative
That's
July
what I'm
4th
saying.
weekend.
Like who's
like a guns and ammo.
Who's knocking down the door? Yeah.
A monster truck rally?
It's
Sundays in the West Hall.
Bigfoot, Gravedigger, Bald Eagle Con 2019. This July 4th, freedom's gonna ring.
If I would love to watch a monster truck rally inside the convention center, if not for the fumes that would kill everyone.
Yeah,
since it's
they would install
enclosed.
They would install. You would hope.
Oh my goodness. Well, gentlemen, it is episode 400, and I have learned in my 7 years here at IGN, I'm not good at milestone shows. Greg Miller was always great at those. He was so good at those. I'm sure he still is, marking, since Kind of Funny is they've probably had some good milestones by now after, 4 or 5 years. But yeah, I managed to do 201. What was the best episode ever with Phil Spencer, Seamus Blackley, and Peter Moore. And I thought we had a great show last week with Rod Ferguson.
Yeah, $3.99.
Yeah, $3.99. But
just keeping them on the toes.
I can't do it. I can't seem to hit the actual milestone show itself. I managed to get Elon Musk for episode 200 of my Tesla podcast, but I can't seem to make it work here for whatever reason. So if you were hoping or expecting for some big, super cool thing today, I'm sorry. It didn't happen.
But we're definitely going all out for 500. So you just have to hang tight for 100 more episodes.
You know what's the part of the problem? No, just go with it. Just go with it. Our milestones, at least the even like 100 ones, since since we're pretty good about staying religious with the show almost every week, except for the end of the year, I guess we'll usually skip one over the holidays.
Yeah,
take
generally.
a break. But they always fall right around E3. Like 200 was right before E3. 201 was supposed to be 200, but the timing didn't work out.
That makes sense. 50-ish
Yeah,
a
right.
year.
Yeah. I guess we try to do 51 shows a year.
Yeah.
Usually it
No.
hopefully works.
We have
Yeah.
to miss more than just one a year,
Well,
right?
but we
Just the way it
plan.
shakes
We only
out,
plan to ever miss one a year. The one at the end of the year. Anyway, no one cares about this. This is a boring conversation.
Hey, everyone, let's talk about podcasting logistics.
Podcast schedules.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, let's. We got plenty of news to get to this week. That's the nice part. Is I guess we're far enough away from E3
Things are starting
where
to-
things
yeah.
are starting to pick up. So let's do that right now. You don't like the bumper?
I totally forgot there was a song.
Sting.
So I was like,
I totally forgot about the sting. World News Tonight with Ryan McCaffrey.
Well, yeah, it's there have been, but then last week there wasn't because we just had Rod in the
Yeah.
back in the proper studio, which we then immediately we literally tore down the house.
Yeah.
We tore the walls down. It was like, did you ever watch what was that cool but short-lived HBO show about the record company guy in the 70s?
Oh, yes. I do know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, that's
Dead
how-
Air. No.
Anyway, there like in the pilot of that, he like goes to this nightclub and the house gets literally rocked down. That's what we did last week. We rocked
It was
the
a
house
long walk for
with
that.
Rod, wasn't it? Especially since I couldn't remember the name of the show,
Yeah.
and neither could you.
How engaging. If you're not aware, IGN, our headquarters in San Francisco, we're building out new studios, 4 new studios. So we had one studio that has been basically our functional home for 7, 8 years now.
Yeah, I think it was built before I got here. Because Destin, I think you started like a number of months before I did, right?
it's always been here.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
not-
always
I thought
been
it
here.
was built
but, like,
out for.
And it always
I've been
will
here
be.
8 years, so
Yeah.
it's been here at least
So there you
8.
go. It's been
Yeah.
And yeah.
So
Anyway.
IGN Studio is no more. It is now IGN Studios, and hopefully we move over there
Yeah,
sooner
so
than later.
for those of you who really like the video episode, and we hear all of you on YouTube, believe me, on the YouTube comments
and Twitter.
and you're annoyed with the little closet space setup we have going on right now, you'll probably be happy, I hope, in another short number of weeks' time. I don't
Might
want to
be
put
next
a date.
week.
Might-
Might be the week after. I don't
Hopefully.
know. They're really close to finishing.
Yeah. So 4 new studios. We'll have a dedicated space for podcasting, which should make things much faster, much easier to
And much prettier.
sit down and set up, and it'll look great. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's do some news here. Thurrott.com, which has a pretty decent track record with Microsoft hardware rumors, specifically over the years, they are saying that Xbox Scarlett, Project Scarlett, might now, in fact, just be one console rather than 2. So it was Anaconda was going to be the high-end one, and Lockhart, the lower spec, cheaper model. And they are claiming, so the site claims developers were potentially having trouble focusing on consoles with 2 different sets of specs, and were putting a focus on the lower end Lockhart specs instead of the higher end Anaconda, ultimately sacrificing performance in the process. Additionally, the site says Microsoft's Project X Cloud streaming service might be a factor in removing the cheaper console, as it could theoretically stream next-gen quality performance through a slew of low-power devices, making Lockhart a redundancy. Ultimately, Thurrott suggests Microsoft is streamlining the next generation of Xbox by keeping Scarlett as one console.
I fully support this. This sounds totally fine.
Doesn't it? Like,
Splitting your SKUs is a weird move at this day and age. Yeah.
Thank God.
now, to be fair, to I guess wouldn't quite be the devil's advocate position in this, but the 360, as we think of that as Microsoft's dominant console that ruled the world, it was a 2 SKU console.
Wasn't it a 3?
Not at first. It was
Yeah,
premium and
later.
arcade.
You had the arcade, with no hard drive.
Premium and arcade. So, and no one wanted the lower end one.
No.
No one.
But
Yeah.
realistically, it was correct me if I'm wrong. Did the arcade version, you could still put a hard drive in, or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you could buy a
just
hard
didn't
drive
come with
later.
Yeah.
You had to like buy the little drives.
So it was
the
it was
little flash
technically
drives.
one SKU. Just one came with the premium came with a hard drive. And the arcade did not.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. The consoles were the same spec.
Yes.
but they were effectively, it probably had the same effect in the marketplace. What Microsoft's maybe thinking here of now, granted, that wouldn't have confused developers because they're coding to the same box like Theron's reporting here. But yeah, I mean, nobody wanted the arcade SKU. Certainly, it was I think $299 for that one and $399, and it was definitely $399 for the premium. But yeah, I mean, to me, this feels like Microsoft is heading off what could have been
A repeat.
a massive, like almost Xbox One caliber mistake in that if they got wind or that developers were coding for the lower end one, which you as a developer it makes sense in that your
You build
lowest
for the
common
lowest
denominator,
common
and then you
denominator,
can
yeah.
scale from there. It's just inherently putting the Scarlett at a disadvantage to games that are hard coded for PS5, for which what will presumably be a close to Lockhart, give or take, level.
Yeah.
That this could have been a real bad idea had it been seen to fruition.
They talk about xCloud in here, and I think that's a reasonable reason to not have the lower SKU, because basically you could have a standard Xbox and play high-end games on your standard Xbox if it's like an app. Like, you don't need a high-end box. That's the whole purpose of having this cloud-based gaming service that they're developing. So the redundancy angle is sound. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, there were a lot of rumors kind of swirling around about Lockhart, right? Like it was going to be effectively the all digital version of whatever the next gen Xbox, the next box is going to be. But yeah, Project xCloud seemingly makes that redundant. I think you also brought up an awesome point, which is that anytime you release a new console in two different SKUs, you automatically introduce inherently just market confusion, right? Moms or grandmas or dads or grandpas who want to go buy a console for their kid, like they're not fully up to it. So maybe up to speed on it. So if they're looking at, well, this one's $100 cheaper, why don't we just buy this one? Like that could potentially, cause, cause people to not quite have the same experience of a truly next gen box. And then of course, like you said, developers, if Xbox is in a really, really great place right now. And in fact, it's really one of the only feathers in their cap where the Xbox One X is just hands down the best place to play third-party games.
Absolutely.
So if you introduce two different SKUs and developers start building, Activision isn't going to put the time and resources to make the best optimized version of Call of Duty, whatever.
That's true.
For two different things. Yes, they'll be different and one will be better than the other for sure, but if you're trying to compare a Xbox SKU of a game versus whatever's going to come out and be on the PS5, like you're really, really, really running the risk to lose that position of power where you are just the best console to play. Maybe you don't have the exclusives. Hopefully that changes next gen. But right now, Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever it is, the Xbox is the best place to play it. And Microsoft would be crazy, in my opinion, to sort of give that up. They have the raw power right now, and that's one thing that's sort of driving them and keeping them going.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going to be facing what is almost certainly one PlayStation 5 device,
Absolutely.
to have two different spec Xboxes going up against that just seems like asking for confusion and asking for trouble.
There just seems like more reasons not to do it than there are to do it. And, smarter people than us are in a boardroom somewhere going like, well, actually, no, it makes a lot of business sense. But I'm really happy. I'm like one focused expression of whatever Xbox is going to be in the future.
Well, and I'll go back to, so I read Robbie Bach's book. That he came around on a book tour. He was one of my first unfiltered guests back after I launched that show, which is what is that, 3 years ago now, something like that. But and so I read his book, and it was very interesting because it talks about sort of the first half of the book's about Xbox, and the second half of the book's about sort of his life after Xbox. But what's interesting in that front half that's Xbox related is He starts with original Xbox, but then when he talks about the 360 plan, and their whole plan was to get the hardcore gamers on board first, and then from there, if you could get them, then you could add other features, things like a Netflix app and other sort of more
The all-in-one.
wide-reaching things that could bring in more people. But you had to get the early adopters, the hardcore gamers who would buy it and use it and love it and tell their friends, which is exactly what happened with this generation with the PlayStation 4. Is the narrative was set real early, and all the hardcore people went and they went PlayStation this generation, and Sony never looked back. And to me, this is a situation where maybe Microsoft still comes with a Lockhart way later. Maybe it's a year later or 2 years later, and they get their foot in. Their narrative is all about Anaconda
That
and
first impression.
bam, power. This thing is super powerful. Sure, it's $500, whatever, but I'm sure it's going to be the same price as the PS5.
I imagine they got to be, yeah.
And this thing it's just muscle that's made for gaming. And then later, after you've established the core audience, you could come in with, we've got here's a lower spec version as well.
Absolutely.
That's cheaper. That maybe now we get some other people in there, cast a wider net a little bit. So this feels like a thing, is what I'm trying to say, is that's could still be a good idea down the road.
I think two things are going to happen in the future. You're talking a lot about power and, the best console play third-party games, all that's true. But if xCloud or Stadia end up being successful, then they're just going to make consoles sort of pointless. Like, they're not really going to be necessary
Not for a
anymore.
while.
But if they are successful and they're able to deliver what they're saying they can, I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
But if they are, then eventually, 5-10 years down the road, consoles are kind of just going to be a place that you stream your games to. It's not really going to be as often that you're upgrading and such. Inversely, if they fail, maybe it'll take a little bit longer. I don't think they're quite where they need to be yet. There's still latency and stuff playing Gears of War and Halo. There's latency on the input based on what we played at E3 in that environment. But it's close. It's close.
It's also regional, right? Like America's broadband infrastructure does not support a total move to streaming.
No, especially
right.
not for 8K.
Yeah.
And then,
Bandwidth caps and 4G LTE versus with the 5G we don't have yet. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think you're absolutely right. Microsoft has proven this generation in particular, woe to many who are looking for software, but they are very good at iterative hardware. I mean, how many SKUs have they released this generation? 4?
A lot.
Maybe.
the 1, the S, and the X.
And the all digital.
Yeah, 4.
Oh,
It's
that
4.
new one, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
4 total. I mean, look, they released the all digital, and I remember rewind to 6 months ago when we're talking about this, less than that, 3 months ago. We're like, what is the point of this box? I don't understand it.
Right.
Now I do.
Test the water.
Test the water, and also set something up for Project xCloud, right? Like you are now, look, Stadia runs off an Ultracast, which is basically a thumb drive you plug into your TV. If you buy an all digital version of whatever the next box is for $200 less, $100 less, $150 less, whatever it ends up being, then you just buy into Project xCloud, and you still have, your internal hard drive that's admittedly going to be fairly small, I'm sure, but you can still download your digital games and play them like that as well.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
there always used to be kind of it's not a saying, I guess, but sort of an adage that the most powerful console was never the one that won.
I mean, the Wii kind of set that trend out, right?
Yeah, but even I think you could probably go back. I guess the PS1 probably wasn't as powerful as like the Atari Jaguar from a just raw technical kind of perspective. But anyway, I actually think that's not true anymore, and I think the raw power matters a lot more. I think this generation showed us that when you saw at the beginning of the generation of people just side by siding stuff at 900p on Xbox One.
Yeah.
Versus 1080p with maybe some nicer stuff going on as well on PS4, and then carried forward, Xbox One X, definitively, Red Dead Redemption 2 being probably the quintessential example of like
you play that on Xbox. Yeah.
Objectively a higher performing game on an Xbox One X than it is on a PS4 Pro. So yeah, I just don't. I think Microsoft they've thankfully stayed clear enough in their vision that they're like, no, we need to be right, if not number one in power, like just right, indistinguishably close.
Right.
So
I mean, you have to be, otherwise, like you said at the very beginning of the segment,
the narrative runs away from
you. You run the risk of losing the narrative right out of the gate again. And I'm not going to say Microsoft can't afford to do that again. I mean, that company,
they're fine.
they're not going out of business anytime soon.
Just fine. It would really, really maybe be not a death blow, but it would be bad for the brand.
It would undermine the efforts that Phil Spencer and the Xbox team have been making over the last 4-something years of, rebuilding the entire brand and investing in what, 8 new studios, something like that, and
purchasing a bunch more. Yeah.
Well, total is from
Oh,
creating
total? No, it's in the...
No, I mean, but since just over the last 4 years.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It was 7 last year, Double Fine this year.
Yeah, the
8
preparation for next gen.
Right. It would just undermine all that stuff if you're...
Game Pass,
Yep.
xCloud,
backwards compatibility.
the messaging that they're really selling right now, which is like Xbox is your home for gaming. It would be equivalent to like a stumble at the finish line. I think they are in such a good place right now, and sure, you could have the exclusive talk all day long, as much as you want, but Xbox Live is what really changed last generation.
Yes,
and
you're totally right.
They are setting themselves up to have the infrastructure to really be, and I'll probably end up eating my words on this, but like the best ecosystem for gaming for the next generation. I mean, it's just by the sheer volume of different services they provide.
It's funny. I almost think of it. You said the end of the race. I almost think of it as, at this point, it's like a relay race.
Yeah,
where each generation hands
the
off.
baton.
Going for like 360s, like just booking it around the track.
Usain Bolt.
Woo! And then you hand off to. It's like Don Matrick in a tiny shorts and a tank top, standing there like ready to grab the baton, and he just grabs it and just eats it right into the pavement.
Yeah,
just face bloodied. Everyone's laughing.
Yeah,
and then he tries to get up and trips over his own shoelaces. And then they say, "Listen, Don, just get off the track. We're gonna sub in a new. We're gonna sub in a new runner here."
Phil Spencer is like the dad in the stands who sees his son fall and then goes down and picks him up and walks him across the finish line, like, "Hang your head high, son."
And now finally got some good.
In reality, he kind of pushed him down before the finish line and said, "You know what? I'm just gonna handle this."
And then they've got some good form now. They're running a steady race. Getting some momentum, and they're getting ready to hand off that baton again.
They're a good 2 lengths ahead right now.
Yeah, they're in good shape. So it's just good handoff.
Just
is what
firm
we're
grips.
for.
Firm grips, guys. Wipe the sweat off your palms before you do this.
Before we move on from this segment, we're inevitably going to talk about this again, probably many times. But what do you guys think if we're down to one console now? What is the official name of Scarlett?
I really like Anaconda.
It will not be that. I can pretty much. We do this. We've done this now. This is the 3rd generation we've done this ever since the Xbox 360 wasn't going to be called the Xbox 2.
Yeah.
So I never would have seen 360 coming. I hated 360 when I heard it.
Yeah.
And then about like 2 weeks later, I was just numb to it and didn't care anymore, and it was fine. And then the 360 just became like, we don't even have to say Xbox. You just say the 360.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what you're talking about. But you don't say the one. That's Neo.
Yeah.
Nobody
That's
says
true.
the one.
That's true.
So
there is no console.
there's there are the inevitably the ones that have been on the list for the last 2 generations.
I mean, it was going to be 720 and
Xbox
Infinite.
Next, Xbox Infinite. Yeah. What do you guys got any good ideas?
I
for
mean,
what this thing should be called.
With Halo Infinite being a launch title, it would make sense to have it be the Xbox Infinite this time around.
Oh, I like that.
Kind of like, I mean, Nintendo always did, like Super Mario World on the well, I guess that's a bad example because Mario was always not always, but effectively always Super Mario Brothers. But like,
in the beginning,
Super. What were some of there were like a million games that were Super Star Wars on the Super NES.
Contra.
Super Contra, thank you.
I don't remember either of those games.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I was a Genesis kid.
We'll just keep talking, Destiny. That's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. How dare me?
You take your better EA Sports games on the Genesis, and we'll just wait. No, I had a Genesis also.
Joe Montana Quarterback Club. I loved it.
Super Metro.
Oh no,
94.
Look back to pass. That was
Touchdown.
so that was like just incredible at the time.
I just love that you guys are giving me shit talking about a Sega console in lieu of a Nintendo console on an Xbox podcast.
Just breaking your balls.
I like Infinite. I like just Xbox. Like drop all the monikers.
What about like Nextbox?
No,
and
I don't like that.
I'm still pushing for this.
It's also a magazine, or was. I don't know if there's still a
Nextbox?
publication. There was a magazine called Nextbox, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, come on. All kidding aside, who knows? Like, if they were smart, they'd call it the Xbox 6. So, seriously, I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be it can't be the Xbox 2.
I mean, this is a company that skipped 9 altogether. Just went from Windows 8 to Windows 10.
Yeah, well,
so they're not above such a thing.
They're not going to call it the Xbox 2, right?
No.
Like, they can't.
No.
That would be marketing wise. That would be putting yourself at such a disadvantage.
They're going to distance themselves so hard from the Xbox One.
That's a really good point as well. What if they just call it Xbox?
Well, that's what Destin was just saying.
Yeah.
And
I like Infinite.
I remember I made that argument last time, and I still think it's a good argument.
My logic is that it's like a reset for them.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think they would go into that with like, this is a new generation, and we're kind of resetting, learning from our mistakes, and we're launching right with the new Xbox.
That's just so interesting.
Colloquially, it'll be new Xbox.
I don't know how marketing teams or brand managers or any of that stuff works, but I imagine they sit down and they're like, okay, we need a name that encompasses everything this is going to do. It's for hardcore gamers. It'll be the most powerful console. It's the best place to play your games. It encompasses great value in Game Pass. How do you define all of that?
And when you type it into Google, it doesn't mean something horribly offensive in another language.
Oh yeah, that's
in another culture.
There's that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real thing.
We want to avoid that.
You got to not do that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Xbox seems like the hard reset, like this is the reemergence of the brand.
The only issue with that one is what happens when they're almost certainly, like I would bet a month's worth of lunches on it that there will be that there will be another mid-cycle refresh for that console.
Sure.
What do you call that then? If you have the Xbox and then I don't know. I guess Apple
What if
did
they
it.
blow our minds? It's the X Circle. It's just a round console.
I mean, yeah, Apple did it with
that
iPad.
one fell flat.
They
like Infinity as an alternative.
Infinity.
Yeah, you start.
As opposed to
Xbox Infinity, Xbox Infinite.
Infinite, yeah.
Wasn't Infinity the one that we'd thought we had on good authority from a developer last time?
Maybe
heading into this generation, I feel like that was the one, and then we suspected later that Microsoft just told developers the wrong one in case they leaked it.
That could be too, like getting ahead of the curve. It could also be the fact that, I mean, these discussions go on for years, and at one point they were leaning pretty heavily toward Infinity, and somebody was having a drink or lunch with their friend and was like, oh yeah, I think it's going to be Infinity. Oh, that's cool. I was
looking up thesaurus words for Infinity.
And then it changed throughout.
Because then you can do your logo as the Xbox logo with the Infinity symbol.
Man.
It'd be cool. I mean, you could still do that even if you called it Infinite too. You could still get away with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I like Infinite.
I honestly,
it feels good. Especially, I do like. I almost kind of. I like the Halo synergy too, because Microsoft hasn't really been able to achieve that synergy with Halo because they haven't had it at a platform launch in forever.
It also works well with the idea of xCloud.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great point.
Although
Infinite possibilities.
Yeah. I think that's probably as close to the cloud as they want to get, as far as branding goes, right? This last,
Well, it works well with the other messaging that they want to do around the console.
just 2013, when they debuted, it was the always-on generation, right? The all-in generation. And I think they are going to be very, very careful about positioning themselves as this is exactly the same experience that you know and love, and if you want to buy into more of our ecosystem in the cloud, then that's on you. But they're not going to sell that. Like that is not going to be their first.
Yeah. Nintendo came out and called something a Wii, and it sold better than anything else. So,
Yeah, maybe this whole conversation is pointless. It doesn't really matter.
no. It's interesting, but
Yeah. I don't know. Well, it's just for fun. All right. I think we're all feeling pretty good about Infinite, though. We'll
Yeah.
just see.
I like
Bookmark it. Episode 400.
Xbox
Come
Infinite.
back in, 8 to 10 months or so when they officially announce the
It's so
thing.
soon.
It will. I mean, assuming they do an event ahead of E3 like they did last generation.
Like a March or May event.
There's no reason they won't. I mean, they've already been talking about it, so they're not going to just wait till E3.
Yeah,
there'll be an event.
The debut prior to E3, the full deep dive at E3.
Exactly.
On sale fall 2020.
Yep. Yeah, it was. Now, last generation, Sony they unveiled the PlayStation 4 in February of 2013, and then Microsoft sat idle until May.
See, even them getting out ahead again.
Well, exactly. I mean, that was, that's all anybody talked about was the PS4 for 3 months until Microsoft came, and then they fell on their faces at the TV event. So
I actually just watched that video again.
I mean,
9 million views on YouTube.
I would expect that Microsoft won't. It'll be sooner rather than later. They're not going to wait till May when E3 is in June.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll be earlier in 2020, I think.
And we know Sony's already positioning. They're getting ready to start talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, like just, what was it, 2 months ago? That Wired article came out? Or was it Wired or was it?
Yeah, it was Wired.
Was it Wired? Where they
with
just,
Mark Cerny?
Mark Cerny, just super kind of high level, and it dominated the news cycle for 2 to 3 weeks. Like that's all. That was by anything with the word PS5 in it was by and large the best traffic on our site.
Right.
For that period.
I'm incredibly curious about their tech, and I haven't heard much about Xbox's tech comparatively. So their hard drive on the PlayStation 5 is able to load a game faster than an SSD on a computer.
Well, and Microsoft appears to be doing the same thing. They talked about it at E3. I think they're both employing similar tech.
But we haven't seen that timing test that we saw from PlayStation.
That's true.
That was leaked.
That's very true.
And extrapolating on that, I tried a test with Grand Theft Auto where I used a PlayStation 4 standard with Spider-Man, a PlayStation 4 standard with like an SSD, and then a PC with GTA installed with an M2 drive. And none of them could load the game that fast. An M2 drive is like no loading time. It's like one of the fastest hard drives you can buy right now. So whatever proprietary drive Sony is developing to reduce load times is incredibly impressive. And I'm really curious to see where Xbox's, I assume M2 SSD style drive is going to land compared to where Sony's ended up landing.
Yeah. I wonder, too, if it's easier for them. And again, I am not a technical wizard or anything. Justin, you know way more about this than I do. But when you buy parts that are then used to assemble a computer, they're not specifically made for each
exactly.
other. So
well,
there is still some loss right there, right? 'Cause
actually, usually when you buy like a motherboard, you want to buy a very specific RAM type. It comes with a RAM list of like what you're supposed to buy.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can buy other stuff, but as I discovered with my process, I'm like, oh, I want to get the biggest RAM stick, and it actually doesn't.
Nice.
It wasn't compatible with the board, so the board couldn't never boot, and I had a huge headache. And then a buddy of mine that builds computers regularly, he's like, make sure you buy RAM off the approved vendor list. And then as soon as I did that, everything works great, and the computer's pretty sweet now.
But to the original point, Sony is building a machine where they know every single one of these machines will have the exact same parts.
And they're called custom built for one purpose, which PCs just can't be.
Yeah, and Xboxes are Radeon or however you say it, for the graphics drivers. It has been forever, basically. and then
yeah, since the 360, the original Xbox had an NVIDIA in it.
Yeah, well, AMD.
They're also a hardware company, so
Yeah,
they know how to partner well.
AMD is in the PS5 or PS4 as well, right?
Did you say Microsoft's a hardware company or Sony? Who are you talking about?
Both?
Oh yeah, actually both. Make hardware.
They do, but Microsoft's a software company.
That's true.
Well,
like with Windows,
Microsoft.
Sony's a hardware company.
Microsoft is a conglomerate.
They are now.
So yeah, they do everything. But yeah, I think AMD came through with just like the lowest bid, right? And they
And for both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the AMD powered the PS4 and the Xbox One, and they're in. I guess we know for sure that they're in the Scarlett, right? Thought that was.
I believe so. I have to go back and check.
Yeah,
I think I read an article that was basically like NVIDIA owns the majority of the market share for PC, right? But AMD is maintaining their foothold in that industry because they mass manufacture for consoles.
Yeah, the competitors are AMD on graphics cards and NVIDIA, and basically nobody else.
Yeah.
And then
two-party system.
Yeah, CPU, it's Intel and AMD. So not only do they do graphics cards, they also do other components. That'll like Intel and NVIDIA are separate
Processors,
companies. Yeah, so that's interesting. And then RAM's all over the place. Like AMD doesn't make RAM.
Because Intel's the leader in that industry as well, right?
In RAM?
RAM?
No, in processors.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have NVIDIA, the leader in the GPU, Intel, the leader in the CPU, but AMD is sort of second place in both of those industries.
Not a bad place to be.
Yeah. Well, it goes back.
Yeah.
It goes
So it
back to
evens
like
out,
Nintendo, right? Like the Wii. The Wii was everybody's second console. You owned an Xbox or you owned a PlayStation and a Wii.
Right.
And so if you're number 2 for everybody, you're number 1 overall, right?
It's a weird logic, but it works.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun talk.
Enough of this. Let's keep the fun rolling though. Alan Wake. Alana's not here to tell us how much she hates the game, thankfully, so we can celebrate it.
Cool.
Sorry, Alana. It's a great game.
What? I got a confession, you guys.
Oh, no.
I've never played Alan Wake.
Okay, well, never playing it's different than not liking it.
Wow.
I mean, I probably hopped in and played the intro, but I've never like played through the whole.
I think it holds up pretty well.
Well, it's because I think it's a slower paced sort of
I mean,
thematic experience.
It's a single player story driven game, and people want more of those on Xbox. So if you never played Alan Wake, go play it. It's compatible.
Yeah.
So what did they say though specifically? Because
So-
they were sort of being cheeky about this.
Remedy, the developer of Alan Wake, has acquired the publishing rights back from Microsoft. This is in a report from Global Newswire, which is over in Europe. Remedy has just received a one-time payment of 2.5 million euros for royalties on previously released games. In relation to this, they note, the publishing rights of Alan Wake games are reverted to Remedy, meaning they went back to Remedy. So now, earlier this year, Remedy had explained that they do own the rights to the IP, but they had said it's never quite as simple as that. So Microsoft always had
The publishing.
a foothold there, and that is no longer the case. So the full and total control of Alan Wake is now back in Remedy's own hands. So start spinning up your fan theories for what Alan Wake 2 could look like, because that game, if we're lucky, maybe that's the project that they launch into after Control, which is out soon.
Yeah.
The game's going to be out in 2 months.
Wasn't there a video that they released that they're like, it could come anywhere? Implying that it could also come to PlayStation.
I would imagine that Alan Wake 2, if it does ever exist, will be a multi-platform game.
Yeah.
Unless Sony signs them to be the publisher on it, or Microsoft does go back and sign a short-term deal with them of some kind. I wouldn't rule that out.
I imagine they would want to go multi-platform just because there's so many 360 owners who are now solely in the PlayStation ecosystem.
That, and it costs so much money to develop any modern game that you're going to want to cast as wide of a potential sales net.
That's the
on that
crazy
as
thing about
possible.
exclusives is there's such this marquee approach to them, and yet they're pretty consistently they sell worse than
Well, that's not true. No.
multi-platforms.
But they're kind of boom or bust though.
Well, yes.
Because like Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man on PS4. It's done, I think, 12. Last I saw was like 12 million, something like that, on one platform. They're not even on a PC, the way that Xbox stuff goes to PC.
Right.
12 million PlayStation 4 copies. But if you have the full backing of the platform holder,
the thing,
and the game's great, and it strikes a chord. If everything comes together, you don't need to be on 3 platforms.
Well, that's the crazy thing is it takes so much to make that viable, right?
Yeah.
And which is why you see those marquee things coming out of first-party studios, because that's all they're working on.
Exactly.
And they know it has to be great. Otherwise, they just wasted 4 years. I mean, not wasted.
There was a quote, a story I didn't put in here this week, but an official at Square Enix was saying, "Oh, we want our Marvel Avengers game to we hope it does better than Spider-Man."
Yeah.
It's like, well,
of course.
We'll see about quality-wise.
Yeah.
But sales-wise, I would hope it does, even speaking regardless of outside of it being a total disaster of a video game. Like, if it's a half-decent game, I would hope it outsells it because it's on 3 platforms.
Yeah.
That you would hope that with having the PC audience and the Xbox audience and the Avengers name behind it, you could equal the sales of Spider-Man on PS4.
Even if that game is a 7, right? Even if it's good, not great, not terrible, the Marvel's Avengers name is huge, and it's nowhere near as bankable as Spider-Man, right?
Well,
I think maybe
it is now because of the movies.
I still don't think so. I still think Spider-Man is probably the most bankable superhero outside of Batman. And then maybe Superman.
Batman and Superman first for sure.
You think over Spider-Man?
No, I think Batman, Spider-Man. That'd be my 1-2.
I think it's Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, Avengers.
It's Batman and Superman are number 1 and 2.
Okay. Can you please show your work?
Fight!
This study's actually been done before.
Has
I
it?
think. Yeah. I used to really be into comics, and like those are the 2 most recognizable superheroes, I believe. And then the Marvel heroes, well, often more popular. Like Wolverine's probably up there, Spider-Man's up there for sure, but I think DC gets the Superman, Batman.
We could probably just do a Google Trends for this.
Anyway, it's beside the point.
Well, today there's a Spider-Man movie coming out today, so
I'll be right. So let's do it today.
Yeah, can we leave and go see that movie? Actually,
I would love that because I'm very excited to see that.
Me too.
Yeah,
but anyway, it's great. It doesn't mean anything today that Remedy has full control of Alan Wake back. But I will tell you that the topic of Alan Wake 2 came up in my July episode of IGN Unfiltered, which isn't going to air till later this month. But I shot it at E3 with Sam Lake from Remedy. So cat's out of the bag a little early on Unfiltered, which is fine.
You want to give us a little hint?
Well, I just did. We talked about Alan Wake 2. Not that it's a thing that's happening.
A little hint about how his feelings on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I of course had to ask him about it, and he gave me a very interesting answer.
Okay.
So and again, you look at there are 2 projects that Remedy is on, because you have to remember after their partnership fizzled, and I say that with no animosity or malice toward anyone, either Microsoft or Remedy. They did split. They're working on multiple projects at Remedy now. They always used to be a single project studio. So they're working on the Smile bit. Crossfire? I think it's that thing with Sega.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking? It was at the Microsoft E3 conference.
Yeah, they showed a CG trailer of it.
Yeah.
It's not at all what the gameplay.
So they're doing, I think, the campaign part of that game first, and then another developer is doing the multiplayer, or it might have been vice versa. But so they're working on that and Control, which we're going to have a lot more on Control very soon.
I have no memory of this from the E3 conference.
It was towards the end.
Fighting
it was right
on
near the end of the
an
conference.
airline carrier, and then they get blown up and they land in the water, and it's also
search for Remedy Crossfire. You got it?
I did. I'm seeing sort of a gif of the trailer. Anyway, when you said Crossfire, I immediately thought of that Asian Counter-Strike clone, which has been the biggest game in the world forever, from 2007. But
I don't think it's that. But I don't know what sort of the status of that is. I guess that's ongoing. But the Control team at Remedy is They're finishing up what I would consider seems like a AAA single player narrative driven game that'll be out at the end of August, and they've reacquired the publishing rights to Alan Wake. I would imagine that there's probably at least a small group of people at Remedy who is probably, if not in actual pre-production on their next game, they're narrowing down the list of options of what to do next, and Alan Wake 2 is back on the table.
They're at least exploring it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they'd have to make sure someone's willing to publish it for them.
Sure.
Somebody's got to fund it.
I think it's got enough of brand awareness that it might. It's probably not going to be. I mean, it might not be an easy sell, but it's certainly sellable, right? There are enough publishers out there.
If they show cool gameplay, people will buy.
Yeah.
I know Go ahead.
Speaking of cool gameplay, even if Alan Wake 2 doesn't come out right in the foreseeable future, there is something that's very, very similar to it in that that new Blair Witch project game that would debut during E3.
Yes, with the German Shepherd.
With the German Shepherd, who apparently is a major part of that game. He's
speaking my language.
He's a good boy and an important boy.
Did we hear more about it?
Yeah, there was a news story.
It's out August 30th, and we haven't seen a thing.
It's Bloober?
Because they're
Bloop?
Bloober, right? Bloober team.
But I mean,
there wasn't there wasn't on the show floor, and there were no behind closed doors demos. Correct.
Yeah. Correct. They were shopping around like live show appearances and stuff, but they didn't have an editorial.
Hit me up for how scary it is.
As good as that trailer was, the fact that they unveiled it at E3, it's out on August 30th, and they didn't show anyone the game at E3 raises a bit of a red flag for
I
me.
imagine we'll see it at Gamescom.
It'll be coming out like a week later, by the time we get to Gamescom.
Yeah.
Maybe Comic-Con they'll show something.
Unless it's delayed, I don't know.
I mean, it's just a strange. I mean, again, I agree. I thought the trailer looked fantastic.
Yeah, that runway doesn't look.
But
good,
it's just like this. It's like having a first trailer for a movie like 2 months before it drops, and then not showing anything else.
Well, maybe they want a short marketing cycle. I don't know.
Maybe the game's good, but their marketing budget is non-existent.
That could be.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, it strikes all the same chords, right? You're a dude. You're walking in the woods. You got a flashlight. Lots of spooky stuff.
It looks great.
This time they're also introducing the sort of Outlast camcorder thing, and there was a dev diary.
I wanted to know if it was Red Barrels, because that's who did Outlast.
Did Outlast?
I don't know if they've changed their name since then, but really, really interested to see how they incorporate that mechanic in this game.
But they're saying like the camcorder will be used in sort of like a puzzle element, a puzzle capacity. There's a dev diary online, but they're saying like you look through it and the world sort of either changes or reacts based on what you're seeing through it.
Interesting.
And that's solely because Blair Witch was all about found footage, so they really wanted to incorporate the camcorder in an interesting way.
I want to watch Blair Witch again.
I don't. I saw it once in theaters.
It's not scary. The kids are annoying.
It's not super scary, but
once you know it's not real, the kids are super annoying.
Yeah. But with Alan Wake,
Destin, they died.
They did not die.
Have some
They're
respect.
with Alan Wake 2, I mean, I could see Microsoft trying to get a nice PR win and getting their fans fired up. It's like, okay, quick aside. The studio acquisitions have all been great. When was the last time, for real, that Xbox fans got super, super fired up for a new game? I mean, I guess Halo.
Gears.
But yes, we're all excited about it. I'm talking, but like a ripple through the industry kind of excited.
The world over.
Like a Death Stranding kind of excited. Like, you know what I mean?
Halo 3.
It's been a while. It's been a while. And so, and Alan Wake 2, I'm not saying it's a Kojima kind of level thing, but
I think that's an industry problem. I don't know if that's an Xbox.
Yeah, I don't want to get off in the weeds.
Well, if you think about it, like Last of Us, people get really excited for.
Yeah.
Death Stranding, totally new IP, trying something new, artistic. Nobody really knows what the hell that game is, so yeah, they're excited. But other than that, it's like first-person shooter, third-person top-down.
Right.
We know the genres now, and everybody just develops.
Right.
in
Nobody's
boxes.
fired up about Crackdown. Nobody's fired up about like again,
People were, but
on a no, but not on a
Like 3
mass
years
scale.
ago.
no, not.
Alan Wake. I could if Microsoft came back in and said, okay, well, hey Remedy, we know you've got the rights to this back, but hey, we'd love to just make an arrangement. We'd love to do Alan Wake.
Second party.
I'd say the last time we saw a spark that kind of rippled
Yeah.
through the industry was the battle royale
Project
genre.
Spark.
Battle royale genre.
But
Yeah,
just with
yeah.
Microsoft specifically, though, I'm talking.
Microsoft specifically.
That's what I'm. Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, Halo,
Spider-Man
Halo
was
3.
was one of those moments.
God of
where
War was as
God of
well.
War.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
No,
2.
we haven't had a
Rise.
experience like that in a long time.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like Alan Wake 2 could be a nice spark to light a fire under the Xbox community.
It would.
I don't know, man. I don't
Conversely-
think that brand is big enough. Even if it comes out and it
it's
looks amazing.
It has to be like Naughty Dog
Maybe.
caliber Alan
But-
Wake storytelling.
And I'll keep going though. Sony, there was a story this week, because this is an Xbox show, but Sony made a statement this week, sort of talking about PS5, that they said, "Hey, content is king, and we are open to mergers and acquisitions."
Sony said that.
Yeah. So
It's because Xbox ate everybody up.
what if Sony goes in and makes Remedy? Remedy has made
Yeah.
Sony kind of games, single player, narrative driven games for many, many years and done it well. What if Sony goes in and, Microsoft has bought 8 studios. What if Sony goes in and says to Remedy and makes them a great offer? And what if they just buy Remedy and then Alan Wake 2 is a PlayStation 5 exclusive? It could happen.
Well, then
What
good
if-
for Remedy.
Could happen. Yeah, good for them.
What if Xbox buys PlayStation?
Dun, dun, dun.
Is Microsoft going to buy Nintendo? That's
And then-
They're buddy now.
And then,
That's not gonna happen.
They've been talking a lot.
Tencent buys them all.
yeah.
yeah.
Nexon.
Oh my! Not Nexon. They don't have that 10-cent money.
Yeah, who's the one?
Tencent and NetEase are the big guys.
Oh, is that who I'm thinking of?
Maybe. NetEase
Who's the other
dropped
massive
$100 million on
the other
points.
massive one? Not Tencent, but the other one.
NetEase, right?
NetEase?
NetEase.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two mega conglomerate, beyond wealthy.
Yeah. They
Tencent's really big.
they secretly
they're a
own
Chinese
Tencent
company.
owns a chunk of Activision. They own
Yeah.
a chunk of
Riot.
Epic,
Yes.
Yeah.
Riot. They have
Actually, I think they own the majority of Riot now. I think.
Tencent has a 5% stake in Tesla.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean Tencent is a unbelievably wealthy and powerful company in the gaming industry and beyond.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're
I didn't
getting
realize
way
they
off
were.
track.
I didn't realize they were outside
We're,
the game industry now.
We're like 53 minutes.
Yeah, way off track here. All right, let's just do we'll just buzz through these real quick. EA executives are giving up their bonuses for fiscal 19 after a disappointing year.
Why were they getting bonuses this year?
Cool.
Because
I don't
that's
care.
how this country works. And
They fire 300 people, have
Yeah,
a massive
and-
failure in quarter 1 and quarter 2.
That's
Big
right.
bonuses for everybody.
7-figure bonuses.
Asshole.
Well, at that level of the
Sorry.
at that level of the corporate
not gonna-
structure,
Whoops.
Don't apologize for it.
at that
I mean,
level of the
it's-
corporate structure, a bonus is built into the job.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's a disgusting age of capitalism. That at least that part of it.
I don't care about this at all. Like Destin said, they fire
I-
hundreds of employees, and this is 100%.
Yeah. No, and
PR.
believe me,
It's
I'm,
PR. And I felt tricked when I tweeted it out, and I'm a little salty
yeah,
about it.
I mean, I'm not
You know?
I'm not celebrating them by mentioning this. It's
Not at
more,
all.
But it's more just to bring attention to the issue itself of why should you give it up? You just shouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Because you had a disappointing year.
Well, yeah, because it's
And,
built into their
It's-
contract.
Listen to this.
I would say abysmal year.
As detailed in a summary of EA's business on the the SEC website, CEO Andrew Wilson and his executive staff have elected to not receive the monetary bonuses they would typically be paid as part of EA's pay-for-performance compensation philosophy. Elected. No, it's okay. It's all right. You shouldn't get it.
They're
if
still making
your company,
millions.
if your company doesn't perform to the expectations that you and your shareholders have set, it shouldn't be I'll be the good guy and I'll just pass on that bonus. No, that's not how life should work.
Yeah.
But it does. Unfortunately, that's the way our current setup works.
EA and Activision have been doing some gross stuff for a long time, and it's catching up to them finally. Their stocks are doing poor.
It's cyclical.
You know,
when I first started, I did a news story with Mitch Dyer about how EA is turning things around now. So it's all cyclical. Every couple of years, there's a new bad guy.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's all we can do. If what I would like to see, what I think will happen is that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order will be a very good to excellent game that sells very good to excellently, and then EA goes back to never making games like that again, meaning single-player, story-driven games with no monetary hooks in them.
How much longer do they have the license?
EA stock's down 27% for the year, but they're still like $100 a share.
But the 27% down year over year definitely matters.
36% for Activision for the past year.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what I want to see happen is, because, we all get kind of cynical. The community gets cynical of like, oh yeah, EA is EA. They're always going to be terrible. But I'm a big sports fan. Mm-hmm. You can always, sports franchises can be historically terrible until they're not.
Yeah.
Until someone comes along, usually at the top, an ownership or a leadership change, and suddenly there's a culture, the culture changes. The New England Patriots were pretty much embarrassing.
Abysmal.
Until
Bill
Robert
Belichick.
Kraft and Bill Belichick came along.
I mean, look at the Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors were...
They have a history of below par.
Joe LaCobb and that ownership group comes in and they install Steve Kerr, and they develop the player development of Curry and Clay and all these guys. And the Cubs, the most historically inept team ever, until the Ricketts family comes in and invests a bunch of money in the team and puts they hire what's his face, Theo Epstein from the Red Sox, and the curse is broken, and now they're like perennially a good team. So the point being, I hope that maybe Jedi Fallen Order is the start of them actually making more consumer-friendly AAA games without garbage laced through them.
Whatever they did with Apex worked.
I think
I'm not saying
get your hands out of the creative side.
Right, and I'm not saying that they're not going to just altogether stop making microtransaction-y games. Those will always exist, but hopefully they will be it'll be a much more balanced portfolio than it is now.
Stop forcing Frostbite.
In my opinion,
that too.
In my opinion, well, that's huge. That would be
if I were
huge.
CEO, if I were named CEO of EA tomorrow. That would be literally my first order of business is message to all development teams. Use whatever technology you want. Mm-hmm. If we need to pay a licensing fee to Epic or to whoever, we'll work that out for you.
Mass Effect was developed in that engine, the Unreal Engine.
Until Andromeda, and granted that game had problems that weren't simply technical in nature. But
how many failures do you need because of that engine before you're just like, okay?
You're so right.
Yeah.
That'd be my first move as EA CEO.
Billion-dollar failures probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, all right, yeah, sure, keep making people use it.
Yeah. Anyway,
knock yourself out, buddy.
What were we saying?
Just being salty about EA. Nice little salt session about
but
EA.
Again, I wanted to be clear. Like I don't want to just succumb to the typical knee-jerk internet response. Like, I hope that the voluntarily not taking the bonus thing is stupid. But at least they're not doing it. It would be even more gross. It's less gross than if they had just taken it.
I mean, that's what happens in every company.
But
they just quietly
looking at you, Bobby.
You know what's stupid though?
Let's not call people out.
I'll call Bobby Kotick out all day long. Brandon.
What's stupid though?
Don't call me out.
If they had taken the bonuses, it wouldn't even be a news story because it's just. It was just built in. It's only that they didn't and actually did the quote unquote right thing. It's a news story, and we're now complaining about it. So they can't win. But I'm not saying they deserve to win. But yeah, it's like,
to be fair,
rock in a hard place.
Didn't they make a press release about the fact that they didn't take the bonuses? Is this an investigation?
You know what? I grabbed the story. I confess, I grabbed the story off of IGN. So wherever we reported it from. I'm not. Well,
I mean,
I'm not sure. I mean,
while we are disappointed with our fiscal 2019 results, we understand the challenges we face, and we will continue to focus on how we can apply the strengths of our company to capitalize on our opportunities. The report states.
but again, this, to be fair,
EA.
this is, I'm not. I don't think it was a press release because it did say a summary of EA's business on the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission website. So
They had to
it's
say
not
something.
a press release. It is a mandatory financial government report filing.
Yeah, Andrew Wilson
had to
also sold a whole bunch of stocks, so he still got millions of dollars this year. Don't worry, he's okay. I put that tweet out, and everybody had all these facts that I had missed, and I felt like a chump.
Well, we're human. We're
salty
not
about
perfect.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I'll say about it is I think respectfully, my opinion is that Star Wars is going to be good, and
I think so too.
I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited by the prospect that games like that are now on the table at EA. I think if stock is down 27% year over year, the first thing they do is lean into what works for them, which is FIFA Ultimate Team, which is
Madden Ultimate Team.
Madden Ultimate Team. They are going to double down because at the end of the day, these are companies, these are corporations that are beholden to a room full of people that make the decisions based on how much more money can they get year over year.
And the reality is the Ubisofts with the Yves Guillemot's of the world are the exception, where they have a genuine, no BS like care for the creatives and the creative process, whereas Bobby Kodak's on the complete opposite end of that spectrum, where it is shamelessly, there's no care for the creatives or the creative side, and it is a pure business.
It's a machine,
and they're not. They make no
qualms about it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean it boils down to ultimately it's up to the consumer, right?
That's right. I mean we vote with your wallets become kind of a cliche kind of thing, but it does matter. It does work if enough people do it.
Yeah, it does. Because at the end of the day, those businesses that operate like that, like machines, totally within their right to do it. Corporations exist for the purpose of making money, or, I mean, more often than not, right? I think there are some that exist to like actually have a positive impact on the world, but by and large, a company's job is to make money for the company. So, creative goes in, money comes out,
and that's why I'm hoping if Jedi Fallen Order turns out very well, I played it. It felt really good.
Wait, you played it?
I'm very jealous.
Yeah, it was. Read about it on IGN.com.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but I got to. Because I was our judge. But I did also was able to. I wrote about that experience.
Oh no! I know. I totally forgot. I was like, I could have played it at E3 because I watched the hands-off part. And I'm like, wait, you're a judge.
Yes,
that's right.
You could have watched me play.
Yeah.
We only had a couple opportunities to play it at E3. So.
Yeah. But
thanks a lot, Brian.
If it indeed turns out well, and so far so good, I do genuinely hope people vote with their wallet and show EA that look, this kind of game can be super successful.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I don't know. It has one of those stories.
Surprise mechanics.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you're talking about Battle Royale a few minutes ago, Destin.
Yeah.
They don't have stories because that's not what they're about. Until now.
Oh,
sort of. So Glenn Schofield, co-creator of Dead Space and co-studio head with Michael Condrey at Sledgehammer up until earlier this year or late last year, I guess. The Call of Duty games they made, they helped finish Modern Warfare 3, but really their Call of Duties were Advanced Warfare and Call of Duty World War II.
Right. They were support on a lot of them before that, right?
Well, on Modern Warfare 3.
Advanced Warfare?
No, that was their game.
That was their game,
yeah.
Right, okay.
But anyway, so, Glenn and Condrey were out, and Condrey started, we talked about the new Silicon Valley 2K studio. Glenn Schofield has set up shop with PUBG Corp. This is interesting. PUBG Corporation announced the news today that Schofield will be building a, quote, world-class development team from the ground up to help create a new narrative experience within the PUBG universe. The new studio will be located in San Ramon, California, which is just here in the East Bay.
Yeah, I was reading this, and I was cheated, and I read ahead, and I was like, oh, San Ramon. That's like right there.
It's not far. Glenn Schofield, former VP and general manager of Sledgehammer and Visceral, who was instrumental in blah, 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 has been named the head of the studio, which is being called Striking Distance. And they will be creating an original narrative experience within the PUBG universe. He says, throughout my career, I've had a lot of opportunities to make some remarkable games and tell incredible stories, and each of them has meant something special to me. But now those learnings will help me build a AAA team that can explore new designs and concepts at striking distance. As a creative, the freedom to explore the PUBG universe has me excited about the possibilities, which I view as beyond the Battle Royale genre. So, a single-player PUBG with a narrative-driven campaign from the guy who did Dead Space and the last couple pretty good Call of Duties.
Yeah.
That there's a lot to be optimistic about right there.
Definitely.
Glenn's track record is very good.
It is.
He's I've met him a number of times over the years. He's a very passionate, very creative guy. He's an artist on the side. He's had art shows for his personal art, and I like the sound of this a lot.
So are they like building a new studio, or are they setting up shop like behind the Chipotle in San Ramon? San Ramon's not big.
A AAA team was going to mean a lot of people.
Yeah, they have
space.
they have an office space that's largely been vacant. Maybe they're like, I know the town really well. I lived there when I moved to California for like 4 years. It's a small town, so I'm just sort of intrigued about the logistics of where they're going to be working.
Yeah. Well, drive on by and let us know. Go scout it out. See if you see any, any big name developers going in there for job interviews that we can
hanging out,
secretly report on.
Yeah.
Day 7 of the stakeout.
At the In-N-Out parking lot.
But this is what's interesting to me about this is almost kind of the opposite of first-person shooter trends right now. The trend is to go towards the battle royale, towards the multiplayer experience, away from the campaign narrative experience. And they
Apex just launched their battle pass today.
Yeah, and now PUBG. I mean, they're obviously
Season 2.
They're not walking away from the battle royale genre, but now with this studio, they're looking to go the other way and have a narrative-driven campaign experience. Which you're speaking my language right now.
Yeah. What happened with PUBG is PUBG was fantastic. It may still be. I've really been itching to actually hop in and just see what it's like today. The problem is Call of Duty launched, and it's basically PUBG but really polished. And that hurt PUBG a lot, I think. So now you have these two franchises that are similar, or two battle royales that are similar in visual style, and one's just way more solidified of an idea.
You know, I hadn't thought about it till you said it that way, and it's like it's effectively as if PUBG is as Call of Duty encroached on their multiplayer space, they are now encroaching on Call of Duty's campaign space. And
that's interesting. I didn't think of that.
The bar in recent years overall for Call of Duty campaigns is not very high.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
the last one being created by Glenn Schofield.
That's right, and it was good. I really enjoyed World War II campaign. I wouldn't call it great. I'd say it was good to very good. And same with Advanced Warfare. There wasn't a campaign last year. I didn't like Infinite Warfare's campaign. I know a lot of people did though, so I don't want to pass that. I don't want to gloss over that. But yeah, I mean, kind of coming at Call of Duty here in a roundabout way, which I'm all for it. If PUBG, if Glenn Schofield and Striking Distance ends up giving me the Call of Duty campaign that we should have had the last number of years, I'm all for it.
I think if you play PUBG, that is not the same shooter as Call of Duty, right?
No, certainly not.
I think that looks more like maybe an Arma campaign.
You may very well be right.
I mean, it's an Arma mod, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
like a one shot, one kill,
like
large scale.
Like think all gillied up the game, right?
Right. Well, okay,
yeah,
great.
I'm down. And it's set in Russia, right? Isn't it? Isn't PUBG theoretically?
Pachinki.
That's cool. I'll be great if this essentially works out to be Stalker again.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
Is the new Call of Duty? I didn't play it and I haven't read too much, but is that a campaign?
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
new one. That was
yes.
the whole divisive thing, right?
Yeah. And then Naughty Dog writers are working on it or something.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I gotta catch
it's-
up. I gotta
it's,
catch up on the facts.
Yeah, Taylor and I forget the other gentleman's name that are the two narrative leads on it. But yes, it is. Read all about it on IGN.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Hopefully this is going to be the year for the first truly great Call of Duty campaign in many years. I think for me, the last
Maybe
genuinely great Call of Duty campaign, for me, it's probably Black Ops 1. And I know a lot of people like Black Ops 2. I did not like that campaign. I thought it was kind of hackneyed and not that great.
I agree.
But
I know people are going to shit all over me for this, but I still think Black Ops 1 is probably my favorite multiplayer in the series.
Favorite multiplayer.
And, well, the campaign was really good too.
I think
I love the time jumping.
I think I would still give Modern Warfare 1, Call of Duty 4.
Call of Duty 4, yeah.
I think that's probably still the best campaign that's ever been in the series.
I think so. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
But I would actually put Black Ops 1's campaign, for me, that's the second best campaign.
I think I'm
the
right
whole
there with
thing
you.
with Mason and the numbers and the ending of that game.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of great missions, the SR-71 Blackbird, but the ending, there is, I guess spoiler time's way up, but the twist with JFK was so good. This little stinger at the end, oh, really?
It delivered in a way like really good spy movies do,
Yes.
where you think you know what's going on the entire time, and then you find out not only are you wrong, but you're so wrong that you stop and think like, oh my God, I need to watch this again, right? But Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare had, I think you're right, hands down, probably the best campaign.
One of your protagonists is flying to a battle zone in a helicopter.
Yeah.
A friggin' nuke goes off, your chopper goes down, and you crawl out and die.
Yeah, I don't remember if that's such a good moment. I don't remember if the Sum of All Fears, the Tom Clancy movie starring Ben Affleck was before or after that.
Where the nuke, they actually set the nuke off?
Yeah, they actually set the nuke off and the chopper goes down.
Yeah.
It had to have been after, because I think I remember, or maybe I just saw it after, but I remember thinking stole that from Call of Duty. That campaign was fan, and then they introduced the AC-130 levels, where it was just
the gunship.
Everyone had seen it. Everyone had seen that footage from Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield. The first time you actually have that power at your fingertips, I remember thinking this is very, the ability to kill someone from a mile away. Not just kill someone, but destroy a town from, up in the heavens. I remember thinking oh God, this is really irresponsible.
It was also just great game design because you were just subverting player expectations and just throwing in some variety to the gameplay.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm I'm up here basically, I'm God bombing people.
Yeah. But did either of you feel that way? And maybe it was just me, but I remember thinking oh my God, I can end this person's life and they have no idea that A, they're being watched, or B, it's coming, or any of that.
Nah, I was just in video game good mode. It was a purely fictional story. It's
for sure. I'm not.
If it had been framed as remember Konami was gonna make that game that they announced and then canceled a month later, the Fallujah game. Yes.
Oh.
That would have been they were wise to cancel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a pure work of fiction, it didn't affect me.
I didn't write any poetry about it or anything, but I remember feeling a sense of responsibility that God damn, this isn't quite the mechanic.
Anyway, okay, so Destin, your job is to infiltrate striking distance.
There's an In-N-Out there. I'm on it.
Your job is to get within striking distance of striking distance.
There's a Dairy Queen
report
10 minutes away.
and just keep us up to speed on what's going on.
My
at that
kind
studio.
of mission. Peanut Buster parfaits for life.
All right, we got to get out of here, but before I do, Cuphead. So at E3 last year, 2018, they announced a DLC expansion, The Delicious Last Course, new bosses, new, whole bunch of new stuff. They had just said 2019. Well, here we are in summer 2019, and Studio MDHR came out today and said, nope, sorry, 2020. So we got to wait a bit longer for that expansion, but it is because it A, just needed more time, and B, is for the health of the studio, because the studio, of course, the Moldenhauer family, and then a handful of other folks that work with them, said the development of the original game taught us a great deal about the importance of making things in a way that's healthy and sustainable for our team. With that in mind, we're taking a page right out of Chef Saltbaker's book. That's seemingly the protagonist, or antagonist rather, in the expansion, and spending the time necessary to get the recipe just right. So we're moving the release of the delicious last course for all platforms to 2020. Good. I mean, we don't want them to suffer in their work-life balances just so we can play play some more Cuphead a few months sooner.
I disagree. Oh. I don't want them to see their families finish the game.
Oh man,
no, that's fine. I think Meathead Super Meat Boy had to do this also.
I love it. That's the crossover we need.
Yeah.
Cuphead and Super Meat Boy.
Yeah,
Meathead, voiced by Jack Black.
Chad.
That could be cool. I don't know.
Super Meathead.
Yeah.
All right.
And the reality too is, it's not as if, from a business perspective, it's not as if Cuphead. It's not as if they've got like a ton of momentum riding off of the release, and they're risking losing that momentum. It's like, no, I mean, it was, the game came out almost 2 years ago,
right?
So whenever it comes out, it will probably be in this sort of same place with people, in people's minds, that it would have if it had come out this year.
They just had to re-hand draw everything on the Switch, so give them a break. That's how it works, right?
That's exactly it. You are so good at game development. Why do you still work here? You should be a game developer.
Yeah.
You know everything about making video games. But best wishes to Studio MDHR. Happy to play that whenever it's done, because we live in a gilded age where there are no shortage of video games, brand new video games at any time. So there's no rush, no need to kill yourselves to get Cuphead's expansion out there. All right, we got to roll, but July Games with Gold Inside all month long, the rightful 2016 game of the year. Sorry, Overwatch. Sorry, Doom. It's my game of the year from 2016. I had Garrett Young. I don't know if he's listening to this. He was one of the leads on Doom 2016 at id Software. He replied to, I tweeted this, and he replied, and he was like, "No love for Doom 2016? Oh, come on, man." And I kind of got the sense, like, I think he was serious. Like, dude,
because you loved it.
I love Doom.
You were like the biggest
Inside
Doom
is
champion.
Yes,
IGN.
I will say this right now. We're a team of individual people. We don't always agree with each other, and that's a good thing, and that's the point. We're not just a Borg collective.
We gave it to Overwatch that year, didn't we?
Well, the game of the year we did, and that's fine. That's what people voted for. It's not what I voted for. But I will say, if Garrett's listening, and to anyone else, I would have given Doom. I wish I'd been able to do our Doom review. I would have given it a much higher score than IGN.
I remember that review.
Just let it go.
It's
I won't talk about it.
Yeah. See, you just see that's we're a collection of different voices and opinions.
Yeah. Dissenting opinions.
Doom was tremendous, but no, Inside was my game of the year for 2016. It was unreal. So play it. It's 3 hours long, and it's free if you're a gold subscriber, which I suspect just about everybody listening to this podcast is.
And it has one of the most shocking ending parts. It's not like the end of the game, but it's
weird.
Yes. Get
ready.
It's just, it will leave you will be thinking about Inside long after you've finished the game.
Also,
in a good way.
Speaking of, did that thing ever arrive?
No, they sent out they're still working on it.
It's still
they're
coming.
Still working on it.
It's still coming together.
Put a bunch of rubber together.
They're still testing it.
You know
what I'm saying?
Gross.
It's a family show, right?
It's not anymore.
No, I guess not.
Don't forget to mention Castlevania also. Get that from July 1st to the 15th.
Which one
Symphony
is
of
that?
the Night.
Symphony?
Yeah.
Yeah, 360 game that's obviously everything, all the games with gold are backwards compatible. And then in the middle of the month, Big Crown Showdown takes over.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And then on 360, but compatible on Xbox One, July 16th to the 31st. Meet the Robinsons, which was a like Disney movie tie-in game. So play Inside.
I have no memory.
For kids.
Yeah.
Do it. All right. Super late. Real quick, I'm going to save loot. We'll just go do loot box next time. But trivia, I'll give you guys a chance here. Ankeet from Bloomingdale, Illinois, thank you so much for writing in. Which of these third-party developers appeared in the intro video played at the Xbox One reveal in May of 2013?
Reveal.
We were talking about this very event earlier in the show.
You weren't there, right? It was Ryan?
No,
No,
Mitch.
I was there.
I didn't go. Mitch went.
Mitch went.
Yeah.
I was there.
You were there? Do you remember this?
No, but they gave us stupid bracelets or something we were supposed to wear. I remember that.
This isn't about bracelets.
Okay, man.
But
I always try and do experiential things, and I hate it. I hate being a puppet.
don't start me on the space poncho thing from the Connect reveal. That's another
Yeah.
show.
I mean, hey, at least they didn't usher you from big tent to big tent.
Right.
Yeah. More lessons to be learned.
Destin Cranky is one of my favorite
I was at
things
that
in the
one
world.
too.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Hey, you have to wear this bracelet. I'm not wearing a bracelet. I don't even wear lanyards at events. I put them in my back pocket, and if somebody asks to see them, I show them. But I'm not wearing a branded lanyard. I hate that. It's a big pet peeve of mine.
So this is a good question from Ankeet here. And I admit, I did not know this one because I think I've blacked out most of that Xbox One reveal event.
It was a lot of
Well,
metrics.
remember there was that
Is this
like
the Connect one? Like, bam?
no.
There it is.
This is the TV thing.
Yeah.
But Connect was part of that.
They had like
Yeah,
every
it
Kudos
was.
Sonata was on the
they
stage.
had the heads of like every vertical there representing
Yeah.
Right.
it.
And I was just gonna say,
They had Bonnie
remember
Ross there as well, talking about Halo.
but remember a guy that got a bunch of stage time was the TV guy.
yeah. Was he the guy that dressed in
and
like
he's-
all black?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like disappeared. I don't know if he still works at Microsoft, if he left, but like that guy was, I don't think he was ever seen again.
You know who else disappeared? The guy
Don
before Phil.
Matrick. Yeah.
He went to Zynga.
Yeah.
And then I think he's out of Zynga now,
he
too.
literally disappeared.
No, he golden parachuted out into Canada, where he's from.
Yeah.
And he has not been publicly heard from.
So he went to Zynga. They gave him a big sign-on bonus.
And
for Zynga.
And I'm not kidding
Yeah.
about the golden parachute.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
got tens of millions of dollars to lead.
Where do
Yeah.
the ultra rich settle down in Canada?
Probably Vancouver. Right?
Toronto, Vancouver.
I mean, the big city, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's nothing like, I don't know, where do rich people in America?
Oh, well,
like
if
the
you,
Hamptons or something.
according
Toronto or
to
Vancouver, I guess.
According to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, it's like some giant mansion with a whole underground like dinosaur cage thing going on.
Yeah, we have lots of those, though.
Don't watch that movie. It's so
Kidding.
bad.
Probably Vancouver. You're probably right. West Coast is more.
Anyway.
You know the Toronto
He's from
Raptors
Vancouver,
aren't
I'm-
actual
Oh,
Raptors.
he went to Vancouver then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's from. It's fine.
Okay.
dancing around.
What's the question?
The question is this: so what? There were some big names that showed up in like a sizzle video thing
yeah.
of like, here comes the Xbox One, and you had.
I like that.
Right?
I like that a lot.
I'm available to host the Scarlett reveal. Todd Howard, was he in there?
My anaconda.
Hideo Kojima, was he in there? Vince Zampella, was he in there? Keiji Inafune, did he make an appearance in that? So it was one of those four.
What do you have an idea?
I did not know, so I would have
think
gotten
I'd-
this wrong, or I'd be guessing.
I don't know. I can imagine two or three. There's only one person on this list I can imagine not having been there, and it's probably the person. But
Who?
pick first.
You pick first.
No, do you know?
It's great radio, you
I
guys.
don't know, but I have a very strong suspicion.
I'm going to say B, Hideo Kojima.
You fool. I'm going to say C, Vince Zampella, because that was right when Titanfall was being hyped up.
Oh, yeah. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, Todd always has had a great relationship with Microsoft. He's done a lot with them. Inafune, of course, Dead Rising, and he's done a ton of stuff. at
Oh,
Mega Man.
crap. I
You
could
know,
see Todd doing the Skyrim thing because Oblivion was so huge on the 360.
And
The
then
reason I said
Vince-
Kojima is because it would have been weird to see Kojima on Xbox.
Yeah, that's true, too. Like, courting the sort of Japanese game development
and
market.
Metal Gear came out there, so yeah.
Well, Destiny is exactly correct.
God! Yes!
It was indeed Kojima. showed
Broke
up.
the streak!
Son of a...
This is the
Thank you,
first
Ankeet.
time anybody's gotten on the board in a while.
Yeah.
me see here.
Bam! That's for you.
Whatever.
Ankit said, P.S. This is for Destin. Bam.
Where is...
I hope I said his name right. Ankeet. Anyway, thanks, dude.
Huh. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Where's Destin's? I can't find
Destin.
2.
What's the standing? I don't think.
Destin 6 points, Miranda 4, Brandon 3.
Nice. Okay.
Whoa.
So
Also,
I'm not on a lot of episodes either.
it's all
also,
very
I wasn't
embarrassing.
on Unlocked for like 8 weeks, so.
Okay.
What do you mean? Okay, you're welcome for a smooth E3 schedule, you big dingus.
So, all right, we didn't get you anything special for Unlocked 400, but we did get you a
Oh my God.
hour and 25-minute episode, which is a good bit longer than usual.
I'm so
by the
hungry.
way, if you have an Unlocked Block trivia question, please send it in to unlocked@ign.com. Need 4 multiple choice answers. Note the correct one in your email. Always looking for good Xbox trivia questions that I can try to stump these guys with every week. All right, we're done.
Yeah.
We did it. 400 episodes.
Let's get out of here.
We were all on all 400. We're doing some revisionist history.
I've probably been on like 300 of them.
You
If you started around 50, I
Well, yeah,
probably
you-
started around 100.
Yeah, you asked on fairly early on in my time because it was me and Mitch. Who was our fourth when you came on? It was Marty, wasn't it?
Was Marty always there?
might have
I
been.
honestly don't know. I wanted to say that, but
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
I don't
it's
think it was. It was somebody else.
it's a good.
Was Steve still here?
He wasn't on Unlocked though, but yes.
Yeah, no, he wasn't on anything.
But anyway,
Oh my God, dude, that's so long ago.
so
I think it was me, you, Mitch, and Marty.
sounds
that
about
was the
right.
crew.
Yeah, almost 350 of these for me, somewhere in that neighborhood, coming up on it. Quite a number for you. You're getting up there.
I guess.
Been on for like a year and change now, right?
You said that like you're dead
It was
inside.
it was early last year.
No, full disclosure, about 40 minutes ago, I smashed my finger and pinched it in the chair.
Oh.
Hurts like hell, and it's bleeding all over the place.
Oh.
So,
Oh God, it is.
I'm just
Happy 400, Brandon.
I'm just quietly squeezing it and trying not to scream into the mic right now. Yeah, I think April of last year, I want to say.
Okay.
April of I don't even know
Whatever
what
year.
it is. I'm dead
What
inside.
year is it?
You were right. You guessed it right. Give Destin a point. I'm just dead inside.
We did it.
Yeah.
Remember
all
when
right.
they kicked me off for like a week? That was fun.
For what?
No, I'm just kidding. It's this dumb thing that happened, and it lasted like an hour.
Okay.
No one even remembered.
I have no
No,
idea what
they
you're
don't.
talking about.
Yeah.
The thing about inside jokes is they only work if there are other people inside.
The
with you.
viewers might know.
Hey, I forgot to play the Unlock Block segment.
Oh, God.
Here,
Bye,
we're
everybody.
Playing it. No. Just roll with it for a minute. For 8 seconds. I gotta get used to putting the bumpers back in again. All right.
Castle.
What are you putting your finger on the button for? What are
It's
you
the
getting ready to
outro
do?
button. Ryan's about to do the outro.
And what happens when you press that?
It plays the outro, and then I stop recording, and then I have my file for the
Okay.
video version.
And people
If you would have attended my training seminar with this very incredibly easy to use Stream Deck,
Here's the thing. I did. Like 18 months ago, I did.
Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. I don't have anything fun to talk about right now, I guess. No,
Thanks for tuning in,
No
guys.
content.
I don't know why you do.
it's fine. Brandon,
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Brandon Tyrell. I don't have anything fun except I need a Band-Aid right now, and
we should get you some medical attention.
we are in full-on Gamescom prep, so I'm gonna disappear for another 4 weeks, I'm sure. That's
I'm
it.
going to Florida.
Yes.
And I am checking out Guardian Con. The crew over there raised $3.7 million for sick kids.
Yes.
For St. Jude's Hospital. Congratulations. And
is
I
really
didn't
cool.
tell you guys this. I've been meaning to tell you.
You got married. We got it.
I got married. No. The Halo experience is going to be there.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
park.
yeah.
Oh,
and
you're-
CJ and I are going
you
to go,
filming
and
it?
we're going to film it
Thank
and cover
God.
it.
I saw
It happens to overlap.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
I emailed PR, and I'm like, we happen to be there on your first reveal. Can we do some footage? So be you looking for that on IGN, and if you're there, say hi.
When you get back, we're going to talk all about it on Unlock because I
Yeah.
think it's only in, I want to say 6 or so cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not this one.
I think it
Or
comes
they're
to
not,
LA.
They're not coming here.
but it'll be Orlando. I think LA is one of them.
I think it's in Anaheim.
Austin is one of them. We
Yeah.
like 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, we were talking about this. Like,
well, when they announced it.
yeah,
But
when,
yeah,
when
we're
can we
going.
fly out and intersect one of them at a city?
Yeah.
But that's so cool. I actually saw the
That's
press
great.
release
So-
for it
Yeah.
yesterday, and I was like, oh, yeah. that'd
So
be
we
nice.
will look forward to talking to you about that on Unlocked. So wait, are you gone next week?
I'm gone the 4th to the 8th, and then I'm back for that preview event that you have Stella and I going to.
So wait, what's today's the 2nd? Oh, so you'll be back for next week's show.
I'll be back Tuesday, but
Oh, you're
I'm
leaving
at that.
over the 4th of July, huh? Both you and Miranda have to work over 4th of July. That's
well,
terrible.
my wife's coming. We're trying to make a little thing.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good.
And also, Guardian Con's just more like go hang out with a bunch of Destiny fans.
Nice, yeah.
We do a Fireteam chat there live. You know, that's on the 6th at 3:30, I believe. And yeah,
Sweet.
Fran's going to be there. Steven's going.
Great. Well,
yeah.
look forward to. Hope you have fun with that. And are you going to do Disney World while you're there?
Nope.
No?
It's terrible that time of year. It's too hot.
Yeah.
I
humid.
did it last year, Ryan, and it was awful. It was the worst thing. I'll never do Disney World again. People say to do Epcot because it's apparently.
I've only ever
more
been to
indoors.
Disney World once, but it was 20 years ago.
It felt like the same park but bigger,
Huh.
Same as like Disney.
like more spread out, bigger.
Yeah.
And
But
I
like,
guess
I can't imagine.
Galaxy's Edge isn't open there yet. It's only open
It's only
in California.
here.
Yeah.
So I'd argue this park's better right now.
Well, I think it opens in Florida in like a month or two.
I like Disneyland better than Disney World.
Well,
Yeah.
We'll save that for a different show. It's already been an hour and a half.
It also
The love of
doesn't have
God,
the
we gotta go.
humidity.
That's the problem.
I did go to Disneyland once, and it was too hot. I got to the gate, and I'm like, I'm not spending $90 to go in just to get heat stroke.
Yeah,
So I ended up
imagine.
not doing it.
I can do that for free.
No, I ended up not doing it. I can
Don't go
only
to
imagine Orlando is 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, looking forward to talking to you then next week's show about the Halo experience.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So with that, for Destin and Brandon, I'm Ryan. This was Unlocked 400. Stick with us for the next 400, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.